Now I'm going to introduce you some comparative school break, how the school schedule goes between American schools and Korean schools. So Korean schools could represent most of Asian schools. I cannot say just all of them, but at least some, Japan and China maybe it's some, have a similar schedule. So this school schedule is very important, right? Because learning is tied with their cognitive attention. So without cognitive attention, there is no learning takes place, occurs. So how schools wisely run these school schedules, and then they can hold the children's students' attention better. So let's say we have here in elementary school, I even don't have to talk. However, I just compare to Korea. In elementary school, we don't have any block schedules. I believe it's just most, especially low elementary grade, primary elementary grade, it is totally up to teachers. And especially the classroom has these days, many school classrooms have their own restroom. So children usually just go to the restroom without having certain time. And when they have a public restroom at the end of a hallway, and then those restroom time is children's break. However, it's not really break. It's just physically you get up and out of a seat and then you walk. So that is a physical break. However, they still have to be quiet and just attentive and follow the lines and wait, in the line quietly. One by one, they use bathroom. So that's in our schedule. And then secondary level is they have a 50 minutes to 90 minutes block schedule. So before it was most of schools were 90 minutes block schedules, but now they consider about this attention span and then 50 minutes and 60 minutes. So more schools practice this. And Korean schools have elementary school is an entire K-12. Korea is a first grade is the starting time officially, even though some schools provide a kindergarten class. However, it's not officially just a public education start for the entire 5 years older. So elementary school has a 40 minutes break. Still in the 6th grade involved in elementary school, they are included in elementary school. So all elementary schools are 40 minutes class and then 10 minutes break. 40 minutes class and 10 minutes break. 40 minutes session and 10 minutes break. Middle school is 45 minutes, instructional time and then break. 45 minutes and break. High school is 50 minutes and break, 50 minutes and break. So their logic is elementary students maximum attention span is 40 minutes and middle school is 45 minutes and high school is 50 minutes. I tried to find that, any research support this and I could not find it, but that's what I heard, that's why elementary has 40 minutes. The big difference is in here, we don't have official block schedule, so no break in elementary level, and it's all individual teachers between instructional sessions. They may have in classroom break. It's not really loud break, a little bit just like a break time, and then 5 minutes, and then they could start next sessions. And secondary has 5 minutes of transition time because they move around the classroom. So that's the big difference. Korea's 10 minutes break. Each session they have a 10 minutes break. So they have a multiple breaks between instructional sessions. During this break, they don't have monitors, adult monitors. pretty much all teachers go to their teachers office, the huge teachers room, and then individual teacher has their own desk and computers all that. So teachers have a break for 10 minutes, and then students have a 10 minutes break. And then especially Korean schools, most of the students stay in the classroom together, and then teachers come and go each class time. So it's a math class, a math teacher comes and they teach and then they go. 10 minutes later, bell rings, and then a science teacher come and teach and go. So except some extracurricular like music, they need the instrument, so they go to music class, art class, computer class, and then physical education. They just, if they have a gym, and then they go to gym, and if they don't have a gym, and then they pretty much go outside, and then class. Schoolyard, they do those physical education. So this 10 minutes break, and teachers have their break and students have their break. So this break is completely, teacher and students are separated, and then students could talk, yell, fight, argue, and eat, and whatever they want to do. They could do it, as long as that fighting is not really like a physical fighting and bloody fighting. And then obviously, teacher will come, some students runs to the, teacher's room and then report to them, and then teacher runs to the fighting site, and then they just break their fighting or something. They do just, whatever procedures they have, and they're gonna follow that protocol. However, other than that, the important part is the students are officially given 10-minute time in each class time between class sessions, so they can pour out their energy. So they can even go to the next, other classrooms and meet their friends there. So it's a lot of social time there, because the students talk together, eat together, eat snacks together. Some students even right now, Korean schools, have a lunchroom and then school lunch. They eat school lunch, free school lunch. However, previously, most of the students brought their lunch box, and then they sit together and eat lunch. And some of the students just eat lunch between those classes, and very early, like, they may skip the, morning breakfast, and then they feel hungry, and then they eat lunch, like after second session, third session, before lunchtime. And then during the lunchtime, just walk around and touch others' food. So it is pros and cons, and you could think about pros and cons, and right now here we have a huge cultural differences. Here even secondary class school buildings, we have a school police, and during this transition time, police walks around the hallways to monitor students in case of some any kind of a violent, aggressive accidents could happen. So it's a different in those, and the Korean students also they argue, and they sometimes get into physical fighting. However, it's not really like a weapon-based dangerous fighting. Especially Korean society still, most of Asian society, still, guns are banned. So except those military people and then certain, special force, nobody just has guns, especially those, police cops in the street. They usually have a bat, so anytime they are dangerous, they could use it. It's more like a protective way. And then, some they could have an air gun or something, gas gun. I don't know exactly, what's going on, but somehow, but it's not really like they hold guns, and then gun is not allowed. So, civilians, around the civilians, even, police cops should not have those kind of weapons, except a very, very dangerous cases, just something happened, and it's really so a little bit because of that, I could say it could be a little bit safer. However, school environment itself, or I'm saying, Korea's school environment is still, getting louder and wilder, and then a lot of, peer bullies going on, and a lot of issues, their own issues. However, this school schedule could give, I see the, Korean students could have more, time to put out their energies. So during the class sessions for 40 minutes, 45, 10, 50 minutes, they could pay more attention. And it's still their choices, but that's the how they set up. And then let's say other differences. It's a lunch time. Here, we typically give 30 minutes lunch, and the elementary school legally is by the law, we have to have a minimum of 20 minutes recess time. So most of our elementary teachers, since we have different lunch schedules, right? So this lunch, after lunch, most of the teachers take students outside the playground and then just give about 20 minutes one-time recess. So it's like altogether it's about 50 minutes break throughout the schools. And Korean schools typically just lunchtime is much longer. So 50 minutes, 1 hour. And they just eat quick, and then pretty much they go outside and schoolyard and they just play some sports or just chatting and talk. And then, teachers also have those break with the coffee and after lunch, and they just walk around the yard, and still they monitor, students because they are teachers, but it's not their duties. It's just because something happened in front of the teacher, and then obviously teacher is responsible to handle those cases. But other than that, most of this lunch time is a little bit more relaxed time for children and teachers, and it's so a little bit longer. I heard of Vietnam when I went to Vietnam trip, and then I saw in the middle of the day, and then all students on the bikes, and they just rode home, and I was surprised. What is that? So I asked, obviously, I'm an educator, and they said that they have 2 hours of nap time. So they finish it, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock. They said 12 to 2 o'clock is a nap time. So most of the students rode bikes. So they're biking home and then eat lunch there and then take a nap and then come back to school building. So, teachers have 2 hours break and students have 2 hours break. I think they probably had that schedule in a farming time, and then the weather is so hot. So that's a lot, different reasons they have. And then I thought, that's cool. You have a 2 hours of long break, in the middle of school time. So, but what I see through these comparisons, I could see, these Asian countries' schedule is much, it's more proactive, preventative schedules for the children's behavioral issues and emotional issues. Because the students have more energy, just time to put out energy, legal energy, legal time to they can handle their just energy, and then they could just calm and they can focus more. And those teachers are not moving, students stay in the classroom, and then teachers move, teachers come and go. So mostly for a year, those students get together in a classroom, and then they eat lunch together in a class, in the lunchroom together. They sit by class like that. So it's like a social part could be better because the students have a more longer time together. And even, just first to 12th grade, it's an entire schools move like this schedule. So especially those, secondary students, they need some talk, serious talks. And it's not physical play age, it's like a talking age. And the younger children is a physical play age. So they play with their peers. However, older children need some talking and emotional sharing and social time. So they have more those times in school. And American students, children don't have those that much time because of 5 minutes transition time. And then, most of the students' schedules are not really quite same. And when they take AP classes, they have small choices, right? Little few choices. So the children get together more better. So, they could be closer. And then other than that, most of the children's, electives are similar, and then they could have those kind of, bond. But most of the children outside, they have from young age, they play certain sports together. So in the same neighborhood, and they move the same cities, they just grow together. That's how they build, their friendships and maintain their friendships. And then just, after school, they have or weekend, and their friendships pretty much just, go to somebody's home and just have maintain those. And Korean children's mostly happens in schools. And it's not enough, but it's they have more those social times than, American schools. So, pros and cons, we think, and then you could think, and I just strongly recommend the elementary teachers here, even though we don't have an official this bell ring break, but still elementary teachers, classroom, you manage 20 to 30 children, so you could have about 5 minutes break between, instructional sessions. And it requires your good, student classroom management skills. So when you say just, okay, time to get, all together and in seat, and then students can all come back, so without any, delays, latencies. So you need, if you have those skills, and then you could have this kind of, 40 minutes, 50 minutes instructions, and then 5-10 minutes break. And then, you could take students outside and walk in the, if your school has a trail, you could have those trail walking for 5 minutes and then come back, and then have those. So my book has a lot of those little bit of just those, ideas how you could handle students, and just better way of just, student management. However, this is not really like, just classroom management and just specific behavior management, shaping training. I'm just giving you just like a teacher advocacy about the overall student management. So I'm not just covering that deep down. However, in other lectures, I'm gonna just show one by one those, very short term and then simple wisdom, how you can, have students just go together and have just some productive classrooms. Okay.